Good evening. Let's see, get the right spot here. Here we go. And welcome. This is Spiritualism with Dr. Thomas. And we're here. It's a Sunday night. And it's just time. So thank you for joining. Feel free to say hi in the comments, whether you're watching it live or on the replay. It's all good. It's about hearing this message when you need to hear it. And sometimes I don't even know what the message will be. But as they already started off with, we're talking about rebirth. I'm going to see if I can do this with my eyes open. We're talking about rebirth. They want you to know why they're here. This is not the first time they've done this. The rebirth is the word we're using, but it has so much more meaning and context than people can possibly imagine right now. Because this is not just a time to reflect and observe from another angle, to take what you've learned and now view it from a new perspective, to gain additional insight, to gain additional knowledge, and to gain additional truth. This is more than that, but that is what we are teaching. This is much more than that. We've told him what it is. This has been done on many planets. I mean, because do you really think you are the only planet with life? The only planet that has been created by God? The only planet that has gone through these experiences? You are always fed the information you need to be fed. It is pretty simple. The news puts out the story that the news wants to spin. The papers write the stories the papers want to spin. For the money, for the control, what sells, to keep the people in line. You don't hear the stories that are really going on. Like, for example, how astronomers are using all these new tools and equipment to find all these new planets, and they have found millions and millions and millions of additional planets. And out of those, they found millions of planets that have the same setup as Earth. Do you really think there isn't life out there? Do you really think you're the only planet created by God? Why else do you think when NASA sends out these satellites and sends out these probes that they all have life detecting equipment? They know there's life out there. We're just not ready as humans. And do you know why? Because we would shoot first and ask questions later. Hence the rebirth. And when the rebirth happens, when we get to this point of the other planets, do you know what happens? This is what happens. We've come down to do our part. So we're here talking about this rebirth. A rebirth is not starting over. A rebirth is becoming enlightened Now, enlightenment, remember, is about understanding that you are always looking at a new truth. You are always growing. You don't always have all the information. You are always learning, and you're constantly learning. That is what enlightenment is. It's about learning and continuously learning. A rebirth is about taking the knowledge you've had, coming from a higher perspective, an observatory angle, and being open to all the truths that come in. Because what you will find out is when you read these truths, find these truths, put together the pieces of the puzzle, what you were told was not the full truth. And you were missing information. You were misled for other agendas. What does this mean? I asked the question. What if God was pure love? Think about that for a moment. What if God was pure love? What were you all told God was for years and years and years? The first time we channeled, the message was simple. In the beginning, there was love. God is only one thing: love. We are here for one purpose: the creation of unbiased love. And how is that created? By learning what love is and choosing love over all others. So we ask the question again. What if God was pure love? What does it mean for you? What does it mean for rebirth? What does it mean for all you've learned your whole life? You've been told to sin is bad and you'll be sent to this place called hell, which does not exist. You've been told God was wrathful. You hear the story of Noah. Okay, that happened. It wasn't because God was vengeful. The exact opposite. We had not been successful. Our purpose of pure love had failed. And the only way to continue was to restart. And that case was a flood. So we could restart and try again. And that wasn't the first time. And on other planets it's been many times, but it wasn't vengeful. It was out of love to create love. But part of that is humans get free choice. And free choice allows evil. And to learn what love is, you must experience evil. But it's never God planning the evil. It's always man. Because they have the choice. You have the choice. So if God is pure love, where does it come from? All this evil you see, the troubles, the stuff, it comes from man. It's pretty simple. God created us in love, gave us free choice in order to create unbiased love for this universe. But if we accept God as pure love, as Jesus said, Jesus said that. Jesus said that those who come after him will be much more powerful than him and could do the same as him. And there are thousands and thousands among this world that can do what he did. But we don't talk about it. Because, think about this for a second, we don't talk about it. because it would challenge the status quo and change the balance of power. It's like healing. When people perform healing on others and things go away, and it happens all the time, there's documented evidence of this, but do you think they would share that? No. Why? Because then that makes the pharmacies obsolete. It takes the money away from those with money. Now we're just telling you things. But I go back to, if God, who has been written in the Bible, has been talked about this vengeful entity. But if God was pure love, if God is always accepting you and always taking you and loving you, no matter what you do, if you cannot sin because God is pure love and is going to love you no matter what, then what does that mean for sin? What does that mean for hell? What does that mean for punishment? What does that mean for all of us? If God was always pure love, I asked the question again that I already answered. Where did the rest come from? Who established the opposite of love, the hate? That's the question to ask. But you can't answer it unless you step backwards. Unless you are able to step back and think of it as, if God loves me, which God does. Everything I taught about God not loving me, about sin, about hate, about this vengefulness coming from a wrath of God, if it didn't come from God, where did it come from? And then think of the simplest answer you could think of. Part of rebirth, always learning, becoming enlightened, exploring and taking the truths you've known and then building onto them, seeing the pieces and see what truly makes sense. When you put it all together, the truths you learn will be adjusted. This isn't the same earth from 20 years ago, from 30 years ago, from 40 years ago. We have been born into this new era, this new time. And we're not just saying this now for the first time. This has been prophesied by all the ancient civilizations. The astrology, the 26,000 year cycle restarted just 11 years ago when the energy shift had happened, when we stepped into this new period. The Mayans knew that. The Hopis knew that. Egyptians knew that. Tibetans knew that. All these ancient civilizations knew that. How would they all know that and write all about it? And say we had two choices. The new age of co-creation and consciousness, or the exact opposite. We're still here. We're still in love. We know it's happened. You are loved so deeply by God, so much That part of God lives inside of each and one of you. The signature of God is in your DNA. Your direct line to God is there. You don't need anyone else to talk to God. When you do in groups, it's always better. And the spirit is stronger. Religion can be wonderful. Because religion is just that, the search for truth, the search for enlightenment. When you step into a church, into religion, if you are open to the search for the truth and put together things, the puzzle pieces of your life, you'll find amazement. You'll find joy, love, and peace. But we say, what if God was pure love? What would that mean for you and your growth and how you live your life? We are so blessed to be here. Love to all. So thank you for watching. Feel free to like it, share it, whatever you want to do. Yeah. Sometimes I don't know what's going to be said, why it's being said, but it all comes together at some point. We've been doing a lot of talk about rebirth because that's what we're in right now. It's a time. It's a time for all of us to reframe, rethink, and step forward in who we are. It's no longer our grandparents' world. It has changed. It changed in amazing ways. With that, have a wonderful evening. Thank you for watching.